atamgonga. Hiyo mzee atamchanganya, wewe utaona. Na aliniambia hii mzee wachia mimi. Siku alikuwa anataka kwenda EU, nikamuuliza agenda yako na hii mzee ni gani? Akasema acha hii mzee nitapanga yeye.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my hope that the incoming government will have fidelity to our constitution and implement it to the letter for the betterment of our people. And in this regard, I wish the President-elect, Honorable William Ruto, and his team well.
It doesn't matter whether you don't sleep, whether you don't have sex, whatever you want. If you don't have enough votes, you have not looked for enough votes, it doesn't matter how much you protect few votes, they will not win you an election.
Raila Odinga and William Ruto will work together.
Yeah. When?
In 2022.
What makes you say so? They work together as an handshake or before the elections?
Before.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, hope you're doing fine. This is Musungu Muliro OGW and this is Trans-African News Updates. You know, in Africa or in our African culture, no matter how much you have differences with somebody, wishing somebody death is the worst and the last thing that somebody should do. And that's why immediately after Raila's death, even the people who seemed to be having political differences with him have sent condolences to his family. Yesterday I heard about, I saw one majority leader, Kimani Ichung'wah, in the parliament saying that, you know, I was calling Raila huyu mzee and na hii ilikuwa tu siasa. That this was just politics. So actually, they say politics is a dirty game, but some people say politics is not a dirty game. Politics is a good game that the politicians want you to fear it so that you cannot join them and maybe make the numbers bigger and more competitive. There is this person who is hated by Raila Odinga fans, and this person is none other than Rigathi Gachagua. Today, we had so many people from all walks of life at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. People went to receive the body of one Raila Amollo Odinga. And some people were expecting that maybe Rigathi Gachagua would be in attendance. And I just want to give a few reasons to why Rigathi Gachagua was not at the airport and should not at any point attend anything to do with Raila Odinga's burial programs. The issue number one, if you can listen so carefully, utagundua kwamba Rigathi Gachagua has been making so many enemies. He has been making so many enemies, not because he's so bad, you know, I cannot profile him as a bad person, but he is a person who calls himself truthful. And there's some things that he has been saying that maybe could be offending the best, Ruto. You know, at this moment, if you speak anything wrong about Ruto and Raila are now brothers in the political scene, you would or you will automatically be hurting both of them and their support bases. Now, one of the reasons to why Rigathi Gachagua cannot attend and should not attend anything to do with Raila Amollo Odinga's burial, you know, in this thing, we have people from different levels of life. Of course, Rigathi, as I have said, Rigathi has his own enemies created from the political scene. If Rigathi attends this and Wananchi discovers that Rigathi is here and what the opinions that Rigathi has been sharing about the government and Raila Odinga, probably Rigathi will be stoned, and this will not be okay for his security. Somebody might ask, how can Rigathi be stoned when we will be having members of the Kenya Defense Forces, the police and the elite units? You know, for instance, today, watu walivunja protocol and people went up to the runways, and as you have seen, some flights were postponed because people managed to reach the runway and people breached the security. We've been seeing some maandamano over the world, Nepal, Bangladesh. Sometimes, no matter how much you make the security heavy, when wananchi want to do something, they can just break the protocol and get to where they want to get to. So supposing we have 1,000 people who hate Rigathi Gachagua from his sentiments, I'm not saying that his sentiments are purely bad or they are lies, but different people receive different opinions differently. Supposing we have 1,000 or even 500 people who are thirsty for Rigathi Gachagua's blood, I can assure you the security might not be able to protect Rigathi Gachagua. So I think it's not a safe space for him maybe to come and attend Raila Odinga's burial. That is one. Two, bearing his strong differences with William Ruto in terms of ideology and in terms of how things are working out. And if you can remember so well, some few weeks ago, Rigathi Gachagua said something that, this guy will do you something bad. So in other ways, he's insinuating that maybe the president has killed Baba. Majority of people, a very great percentage of people have believed that Baba died a natural death. Even myself, I believe that Baba has died a natural death, despite the stories that people are saying, oh, he died in Nairobi, the coffin was empty, why was he taken to leave funeral home first before being taken to Kasarani, and so much stories. I just believe that Baba has died a natural death. Rigathi's words would suggest that indeed Baba was assassinated. So that is one of the reasons why I feel Rigathi Gachagua has not attended anything so far so good on Raila Odinga's burial, and should not. The second one, if Rigathi Gachagua comes, of course, being a former state officer and being a Kenyan, of course, when he comes, he will be given security. He should be given security by the state. The state should give security to each and every person, despite the class and whatever. So Rigathi still can be given the security. But again, when he gets to the podium and some kind of, especially in this event is happening majorly in the areas where Raila Odinga has a big support base. Who will welcome Rigathi Gachagua? Who will welcome him to the podium? Who will give him the space to speak? And in any case, if Rigathi Gachagua attends such like a state event and he is not given a chance to speak and he is seen, he is present, I think it would be an embarrassment to him and his candidature come 2027. And again, if he, in any case, he is given a chance to speak, I think he, as we know, he's a human being and he has his own weaknesses. Probably Rigathi Gachagua will get out of the way and he'll start hitting the government, something he does the best and he knows where to hit. But again, he'll be hitting the government at the wrong place, in the wrong platform, talking to the wrong people. That's why I feel like if Rigathi Gachagua is wise enough, he should not attend anything to do with Raila Amollo Odinga's burial. Now, Rigathi Gachagua has been having controversies some times back. He went to the USA and when the by-elections were announced, he came back and he said, you know what, I'm coming back so that I can prepare some candidates, some DCP candidates for the upcoming by-elections come November. And as we know, that November that we are talking about is getting closer and closer every day. Probably he will bring the agenda here, DCP, in this platform. And again, this will be a wrong move that can still trigger anger, because people will be saying like, okay, you know, this is an avenue where we are mourning Baba, a legend, an icon. And this is what makes me feel like, okay, Rigathi Gachagua should not attend any of Raila Odinga's burial preparation. But again, is Rigathi Gachagua allowed to mourn Raila Odinga? Yes, he is allowed to mourn Raila Amollo Odinga, because anybody with common sense should know that Rigathi Gachagua and Raila Amollo Odinga know each other so well. Despite the fracas, whatever happened in 2022, we have videos and photos seeing Rigathi Gachagua and Raila Odinga in a certain summit. They are talking, they are buddies, they are talking. Politics has no permanent enmity. Plus so many other stories. Despite saying that, oh, nitaweka mitego nini, sometimes politicians says, hiyo ilikuwa tu siasa. That was just politics. That was just politics. And again, as I said earlier on this video, we are Africans. And you know, in Africa, you cannot wish the worst to happen to your enemy. So even if Rigathi Gachagua and Raila Amollo Odinga were enemies, even if they were the worst enemies, in an African way, when somebody dies, each and every person is allowed to mourn. So I've been seeing people criticizing Gachagua for posting Raila Amollo Odinga after he died. That was very much wrong. No matter how much you had differences with somebody, in an African way, if the person you call an enemy dies, you cannot bring the enmity during the mourning season. And that's why I feel like Gachagua should be given space to mourn Raila Odinga, but not in a podium where other mourners are using the platform to mourn Raila Amollo Odinga. In the meantime, Gachagua should just stay at home, follow everything. And you can also give us your opinion. Do you feel like Gachagua should go to Nyayo Stadium tomorrow, or should go to Bondo and mourn Raila Amollo Odinga? Baba, I have not said that Gachagua will not go to Bondo or appear in Nyayo. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. He can even show up. He's a Kenyan, and he should be, if he shows up, he should be protected. He should be given time to speak. My name is Majani Chezo. My name is Musungu Muliro OGW, and this is the Trans-African News Updates. Thank you so much for following. If you have not subscribed to our channel, head on to YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and every platform. The name is Trans-African News Updates.